All right. Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's podcast of CommerceShop. Here we talk about technology, strategy, and customer experience for about e-commerce. Today we are joined by Carla Dougher. She is the head of marketing with Turnsol, a company that sits right in the intersection of landscape, architecture, and hospitality. And they design manufacturing premium commercial outdoor solutions. Carla, welcome to our podcast. Thanks for joining in.
Thank you. I'm happy to be
Uh,
here today.
Thank you. Let me start with the first question. I saw your profile that you worked with big B2C companies. I just want to understand what made you to think that B2B would be the right one, specifically in a manufacturing space. Tonisal, what made you to do the shift?
No, that's a good question. So I spent about 15 years in e-commerce at eBay. Prior to that, I did a couple of the early dot-com companies as startups, and I really loved being at the smaller startup size company.
Mhm.
So when my eBay journey was over, I was really looking to join a smaller company. And I had a huge passion for design, interior design and exterior design. I worked briefly at a commercial interior design company that was specializing in sort of office design, and I was always attracted to sort of the outdoor spaces that we were working on. And so when I had a chance to meet with the owner of Turnsol and talk about joining as part of his executive team overseeing marketing and the general brand and customer journey, I really was intrigued. And the more I learned about it, the more attractive it turned out to be.
That's good. Interesting. So I see that you have long experience around the marketing side. What is the shift you seeing in the market? Like how things are changed right now, in your opinion?
The market, in terms of the space we're in, I would say is shifting. Probably the biggest shift is well, there's two things. There's uh, I would say an older workforce aging out. So your sort of principals at design firms and construction companies and things like that are sort of you're
Mhm.
shifting from a Gen X sort of ownership group or baby boomer group to now more of the millennials and Gen Zs working there. And so from a marketing standpoint, I would say, we're really like adjusting our user journey so that it meets our current user where they are, right? So being more digital first in how we're approaching, sales and marketing. Um, and
Mhm.
then with that, we're also we've begun having e-commerce as part of our business. And so we are expanding that, and we're developing a new Shopify site that we're going to be launching later this summer, which will allow all of our products to be either shopped or put into a quote basket online, which is very different than what the experience is today.
Wow. So is there a journey like your buyer's journey? Like are they now starting to need this kind of e-commerce solution? Because typically it used to be more sales focused say approach it used to be.
I think it kind of goes back to how people want to shop, whether
Mhm.
it's B2C or B2B. I think everyone is a consumer, right? So my approach is everyone's a consumer because we're all shopping online for our everyday products. We understand that consumer experience, and now we want that in our B2B, day to day work that we may be in, right? So the more that I can shape the B2B buyer journey and experience and the marketing to be similar to a consumer direct to consumer sort of experience, it's just easier for the customer to understand. It's easier for the customer to want to trust that company. And it is easier to get in front of them from a marketing standpoint. Whereas the traditional way would be our sales representatives would contact a design firm. They might talk to one person. That person might set up like a lunch and learn opportunity where they would then come in and then they would do their presentation. And then that's, kind of that's where it would sort of end, right? Unless a person was interested in learning more. Um, but the digital approach allows us to sort of, find people that wouldn't necessarily, know us, and for vice versa, for them to find us,
Yeah.
and then to make the journey very easy for them.
Interesting. So, is people finding you? Again, you could see that there is a big shift happening in the way people figuring out things. They used to do with Google search. They click a link. That's how they were doing it. Now things have changed. They're starting the journey in ChatGPT, Claude. So,
Right.
is that kind of thing impacting in your industry? People do that, or what's your take on that?
Again, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I believe, especially our, sort of younger audience or users, they are looking for specific types of products. So, in some cases, our products are very specific to a commercial application in terms of the quality, the durability, the long-term performance and warranty that we offer. And so they might start in ChatGPT saying, I'm looking for high quality commercial planters that I'm going to put on my rooftop or something like that. So we're writing our content, whether it's our blogs or our projects or our product details pages, to be thinking about that user and how that user might be approaching search and starting their shopping journey. So that's what we're doing today. We're learning as we're going, and we're
Yeah.
hoping to partner along the way
Mhm.
as we get better with it. But that's kind of our approach right now. And we also do a little bit of searching ourselves and going to the different LLMs and putting in a bunch of different search terms to sort of, to see if Turnsol comes up.
Interesting. And do customers come to you saying that, hey, I did this in ChatGPT. Is this something I want? This is the outdoor solution I need. Something they connect with you.
Yeah, no. So we have, so like I said, we've been dabbling in e-commerce for the last year, and with a sort of a limited product portfolio that we're offering. It's more aligned to what I call the residential buyer. So these smaller commercial landscape contractors or exterior designers, and the high-end residential buyer. Um, Most of, I would say 80, probably 80 to 90% of our first 100 orders were to brand new net new customers. And they're finding us through search. And then once we have, their email information, we're sending them surveys afterwards and asking them to break down, was it Google? Was it, social? Where did you find us? And most folks are saying that, they're finding us through Google right now, but there's definitely a percentage that is coming through other sources like ChatGPT, um,
Mhm.
etc.
Interesting.
Hmm.
And how about any attribution, those kind of things? Are you thinking about like because there is no click uh, things are happening now? People are
Right.
learning. Yeah. Yeah.
It's really hard. That's why we're doing our follow up surveys to try to find out more information about how do these new customers find us? What was the question or prompt that they're putting in? Um, I think it's difficult to be it's difficult to be in marketing at this time
Yeah.
around some of these areas. But I think I always try to make myself available to talk to customers, right? So I'm personally sending the emails out to the customers, thanking them for their purchase, asking them to fill out a survey, and in some cases we're offering a small incentive if they do fill out the survey, like a Starbucks gift card or a discount to come back on our website. So that's also helping to, at least get folks to pay attention and submit the survey. Um, and then little by little, we just build on that.
Okay. What is the big challenge in your opinion that you see with the market right now? Like in your organization specifically, is it to generate more customers or retaining them with all these things? What's the biggest challenge?
I mean, the one of the significant challenges that we have as a manufacturer is that we make our products sort of, more or less made to order. So we don't
Mhm.
build up a lot of inventory. We do build some inventory and things like that, but we're primarily making to order with companies that are doing longer projects, like they're ordering in advance, right? So we have longer lead times in some cases for those types of projects because we have to build the products for them, right?
Mhm.
So then pivoting and shifting to e-commerce, the e-commerce customer wants everything, as fast as possible, and it's not like they need it overnight, but they were expecting something more like 1 to 3 weeks would be more reasonable for some, for a large group of planters to be shipped across the country. It can't, it's unlikely that that buyer is expecting it to be overnight. Although they are looking at other sources like Amazon and Wayfair, where they could probably
Mhm.
get it in 2 to 3 days. But that's where it's our products are specific for certain applications, and the comparative product might not be available. There may be something that looks like it on Wayfair, but at the end of the day, that might not be a product that you want to invest in for your restaurant that's in Chicago on a rooftop, and you're gonna, and that planter is gonna take a beating over a few
Yeah.
winters. That's kind of the one thing that I think is a big challenge for us, is trying to address these two markets at the same time, being a relatively small SMB.
Right. And how do you communicate the value? Because I see that the Amazon and Wayfair, if people are looking to buy from you, how do you convey that messaging? Like, is that through emailing, or once they connect with you, you do that? How
Yeah,
does?
no, I mean, part of our marketing message is helping our customers understand who we are, right? So
Mhm.
we are not importing our products. We're making them here for the most part in North America, and it is a premium commercial product, for the most part. That doesn't mean you can't use it in a residential application, but we're building them, we're engineering them, and we're building them at a quality level that meets the standards of an architect or specifier that knows this product needs to endure and last a certain amount of time, right? So that is how we position ourselves in our marketing for the most part. Now, there are a lot of products that look similar, and from a digital, visual standpoint, digitally, you can hardly tell the difference. So you really have to learn a little bit more about the brand and the product. And our company has been around over 25 years, so there are a lot of landscape architects that know who we are. The interesting part to me, and that I'm still trying to understand, is I'm finding a lot of people buying from us that have never purchased from us before, and especially the homeowners. I'm always really surprised, that there are homeowners buying from us. So there's obviously a gap in the market in terms of what they're, when they're shopping on Amazon or they're shopping on Wayfair, and they're finding that those solutions aren't the right ones for them, and so then they're coming to us. So it's a good problem for us to have.
Yeah,
Curious about learning more and trying to find out the gaps in the market space a little bit more.
interesting. Uh, when you're talking, you said you're rebranding your site to Shopify. Uh, is that you are doing it on your own, or you're partnering with the
We're
team?
partnering. We're partnering with an agency, and we're currently, the way we're set up is we had a Fusion website,
Hmm.
and then we added BigCommerce to it, and we had a
Okay.
small profile of our products on BigCommerce. We've decided to, that doesn't work very well. That was sort of a short-term fix. So we're building a new site that's going to be on the Shopify platform, where all of our content and our products will be, on that platform. And we've decided that, we still have to like balance this customer journey of this commercial specifier audience with the consumer, that direct to consumer buyer that wants to just find the couple planters and click and buy it. So the experience that we're building is, there's products that can be put into a cart and checked out, and then there are products that can be sort of configured, so you can add things to them, like a specifier would add maybe a light pocket or caster or something, extend the length of the product. So the configuration tool allows the user to say, I want these other things, and then puts the product into a request a quote basket. And then that basket gets reviewed by a sales rep, an
Um,
estimator and a sales rep, and then they sort of make sure that everything is accurate. They might add pricing to it at that point, and then communicate with the customer in a shorter duration than would be like if the customer just emailed someone randomly and then had to wait for that person to see the email. This will go right into a queue, and we're hoping that it will then have a result in faster turnaround times in terms of getting the orders processed, and then getting orders into production.
Interesting. Any reason why you went with Shopify than other platforms? Is that
I would say there was just a lot of folks that recommended Shopify, and then I did some, some searching and talking to folks, and I thought that it looked like the best platform for us right now.
okay?
Mhm.
Okay.
A
So
lot of it has to do with their marketing as well, and sort of all of the features that they're offering.
interesting. I think you're in Shopify Plus, correct? You're going into
Yeah.
the Shopify
and,
Plus.
and
Plus.
that also and part of it is also this B2B component. So the features around being able to have trade, kind of a trade program built in, and then this B2B experience where they can build a quote, and we can send it to our sales team, and we don't necessarily have to like only offer e-commerce on the site. It can function in the way that works better for us as a B2B company.
Interesting. And is the site going to be integrated with any of your platforms, like your ERP, or is it going to act as a
Yes,
standalone?
yes, no, it is. It's going to integrate with our ERP as well as
Okay,
Salesforce.
interesting.
Mhm.
And you've been working with Commerce Shop for marketing. Just want to understand how our relationship is going. What were the challenges you had before connecting with us? Can you talk about that?
Yes, of course.
So,
I think we've been working with you guys for almost a year now. I believe we started last summer, and it's been going well. I think that, my team is very small. So I have a team total of 5 people. And, I reorganized the team and I hired some folks when I first joined. And I have a few specialists that are kind of more operationally focused, and then a few specialists that are more product marketing and sort of content creation, and creative direction, in terms of skill set. And so areas that there's many areas that we don't have expertise around. So we definitely wanted to partner with a firm that would be able to understand our business, understand that we're not a huge marketing department with an extremely large budget, but that can help us understand how to use search, how to find customers off our
mm,
platform, and work with us, sort of one on one, to help drive business and drive growth. And we've definitely enjoyed the partnership. I think that the partnership has improved a lot in terms of, I think getting closer and getting to know each other better, and being able to use the month over month results to drive sort of, iterations and changes that we're doing.
interesting. And have you thought about moving towards the social media like Instagram? Do you guys influence a lot in those platforms?
Yeah, yes. So I get, I have people that reach out to me all the time that like wants to either help us with social, wants to help
Mhm.
us with, with everything, right? There's
Yeah.
somebody out there, there's a company out there to help us with everything. The one challenge that I've really been having is, and I think this goes back to why I really value this partnership, is that it's just really easy to get oversold from an agency to say, oh, we can do all these things for you, and it's only going to cost you $2,000 a month, or something like that. You should try it. It's only 2 grand. And what ends up happening is, as you as a marketer, if you don't pick the agency carefully,
Mhm.
and you don't have a lot of experience with them, you're oftentimes like, sort of disappointed in the first, couple of months, and it really takes a while to like, maybe get to know people that are working there, to make sure you're getting your value out of it. So I've had a couple of those experiences where, I just didn't feel like it ended up providing a lot of value. And so now I'm trying to kind of be very selective about that. And I'm trying to do as much as I can in-house to a point. And then understanding, well, where do I really need outside help and how is it going to drive value for me?
Interesting. And in terms of your new site launching in, what is the goal like? Is there any revenue goal you guys have set to reach, or
Definitely.
is it brand visibility? What's your take on
Well,
that?
I'll just say, our first year was pretty healthy with the
Mhm.
small portfolio of products that we have on our
Yeah.
site currently, and our plan for the rest. So we're hoping to launch in July, and our plan is to 3x our first half of the year,
Okay.
in the second half of the year. And then, after that, I would say, would probably be looking at something that, is somewhere in the 3x for next year. Um,
Interesting.
so we're
And
talking about in the millions. Uh,
millions.
yeah.
That's interesting. So, are you trying to go across multiple channels, or is there any specific channels you're thinking to do all these things?
In terms of marketing,
Yeah.
so, well, we're very focused on email marketing. We feel like we can get a lot of bang for our buck in email. And then it goes back to, I'd say, search. Search is, our most important, I'd say, lever, um, after email. And then from there, I'm just, unfortunately, I'm not trying to do too much of the peanut butter approach, but I would say we are doing a little bit of that, in terms of learning. But I really have a lot more expectations for us around social in the future, social and then SEO. But I feel like the social angle with influencers and, also looking at like Pinterest, those are going to
Mhm.
be areas that we'll probably be able to see some healthy growth out of, once we have the ability to convert more products online. So in the past, I've been a little bit, you know, shying away from spending a lot in social because we didn't have a platform that you could easily convert on.
Easily.
And so then it was like, well, I'm driving traffic, but am I driving the right traffic? Is this traffic, providing us any value? And so I kind of, I sort of cut my losses a little bit in those areas. But now, after once we get this launched, I'm very hopeful that we'll start to see better results in those areas.
Interesting. Is there any specific channel your customers generally hang out? Again, just trying to understand, is that
Yeah,
they?
no, for sure. Pinterest is like this huge area that I want to invest in and learn more about. But it's
Mhm.
it's a little, I don't know. As a small company, it's a little hard to know, how much to invest and where's the payoff. And again, it kind of goes back to being able to convert. So I don't consider the platform that we currently have big enough to drive a lot of revenue because it is a limited portfolio. But once we're finished with this launch, it's going to be a lot easier to add more products, expand our product portfolio in terms of what we're offering, and then lean into a channel, and a platform like Pinterest to see if, we can get more results. Because interior designers, exterior designers, just curators in general, they love Pinterest, right? I mean, it's the
Yeah,
most visual experience without the noise of, kind of your other feed that you get um, in Meta from Meta. But it's again,
understand.
there are certain products and people that use those websites.
Interesting. So, one last question: like, is there any uh, feedback or suggestions that you have? Somebody who's in manufacturing space and specifically in your industry, think, hey, this is
Mhm.
something we should think about, or this is the future. that everybody is thinking about?
Well, I would say that, um, depending on what type of products you're making, but in our,
Yeah,
we're in more of the design space. I would
yeah,
say, marketing is your friend, and you shouldn't be, deprioritizing marketing. I think marketing is a huge covers a huge area scope of sort of responsibilities these days. And that understanding your customer, understanding the buyer journey, tailoring your marketing to to meet your customers' needs, and then analyzing and getting data back regarding the performance of the department is really invaluable in terms of shaping the strategy of a company. And it's like, if you're not doing that and you think that marketing is just creating a couple of brochures, you're missing out on a huge opportunity to learn more about your business and grow.
interesting. So again, I will add one more thing for everybody
Mhm.
who
Sure.
is listening. It is more on the agentic commerce world is going to happen.
Hmm.
So marketing is important. Agents are going to connect onto your site. Commerce will be a backend, like will be a backbone. So everybody should get prepared for this new shift. Be my one
Yeah,
quick act.
well, that's for sure. That's for sure. AI is here, and learning to use it as soon as you can, and then get help where you need it is absolutely great advice.
Thank you. Thanks, Carla. Thanks for your time on a weekend, almost weekend. I know. Uh, Thanks
Thank
for the
you.
time, and we'll connect with you for another discussion.
Thank you so much. I
Thank
appreciate it.
you.
Have a great
Thank you.
weekend.
Have a great
Bye.
day.
Bye.